What's up, everybody? It's E the Prophet here to do another video. This video is going to be called Game of Thrones House of the Dragon Season 1, Episode 1 Review. Yeah, I'm back to do another review. Um, I'm a Game of Thrones fan. I watched all of the previous episodes of Game of Thrones numerous times. So what I'm going to do here for this new season, we got, the previous Game of Thrones pretty much showed things through the Starks and Lannisters' perspective, but this House of the Dragon is going to show things through the Targaryen perspective. And so let's get to it. I'm going to go ahead and recap the episode, then I'm going to give you my take on it and my predictions and what I think is going to happen with some of these characters. So it pretty much starts off where you got King Jaehaerys, and he's been the king for like 60 years of peace, and he didn't have an heir, or his heirs had died, so he needed to pick a new heir, and it came down to Prince Rhaenys and Prince Viserys, and Rhaenys was a woman, and even though she seemed to be the better qualified person because she was a woman, they picked Viserys. And that's important because that's going to parallel Princess Rhaenyra and Daemon. Prince Daemon, yeah. So, that's going to be the parallel and kind of pretty much what the show is going to go with. So pretty much it skips to 10 years in the King Viserys' reign. And this is supposed to be 172 years before the Mad King got killed and Prince Daenerys was born. So this show is taking place 172 years before that. So for this season at least, it's probably not going to have very much to do with the King's Landing we all know. But anyway, we see them having a meeting with the council. And we kind of get to see the king and some of the people. I don't know all of the members of the council, but I know Otto Hightower, and Carlos Valerian, or is that his name? Let me see. Yeah, Corlys Valerian. He's the black guy, the only black Targaryen. But anyway, they're having that little council meeting, and they're talking about, money that was given to Prince Daemon as King of the Watch, and they're going over some stuff. But it's kind of cool because for some reason I like this council a little better than I like any of the councils in the previous show. It just seemed a little more serious. But anyway, they showed the king and he got some kind of wound, and the wound's not healing. So I don't know what's up with that, if that's gonna be significant, if that's gonna come back at all, or what that is. But anyway, they show Rhaenyra, and she's flying on a dragon. She comes back and she's running late, and she's evidently the king's cupbearer. His daughter is his cupbearer. And then they go to Prince Daemon with the king's watch. And he's telling the King's Watch that, lawlessness is overtaking the land, and, his brother's kingdom is overrun with crime. And so he takes the Night's Watch out, and they terrorize the people of King's Landing. I mean, they hacking fingers off, hands off, heads off. It was ugly. And then after it happened, the council called Prince Daemon back to explain what had happened, and he gave his side of things, saying it had to be done because they're about to have the games, and he want things to be safe for the people to come. And the funny thing I'm noticing is that Otto Hightower and Daemon seem to have some animosity, but then Corlys Valerian seems to support Prince Daemon, and it seems that Corlys and Otto seem to have a little tension as well. So just some things I've picked up on so far. Okay. All right, then the jousting tournament starts, and everybody's asking the ladies for their favor. Like I want to say one of the Baratheon dudes asked Rhaenys for her favor, and Damon asked what's her name? Man, I can't even. Man, there's so many names. Allison. He asked Allison for her blessing, and you see the guys fighting, and eventually Prince Damon comes in and starts taking guys out, and then while he's no, then another fight happens. Then they come and call the king because the king has, his wife has been pregnant and she's about to give birth, and so he goes in to deal with her, and then you see Damon end up fighting some guy, and this guy's taking it to Damon, and while this is happening, the king is dealing with his wife, and it comes to find out that the king's son is breached, and they decide that only one, the mother of the son can, only one can live, and it's going to be the son, or they're both going to die. And so, while Damon is getting beat down, first he gets beaten in the joust, and then he gets beaten in the duel. The king has decided to let his wife be killed so they can save his son. And that's how that plays out. And yeah, and you see everybody after the queen dies. You see everybody at her funeral, and Damon goes up to Rhaenyra and tells her it's time. I guess she's the one who has to say Dracarys, and they have a little back and forth, and it seems that Damon and Rhaenyra are pretty tight too. That's the feeling I get, and but anyway, she ends up saying Dracarys, and the dragon burns up the queen, and then it goes back to we're back at the castle, and Otto is saying that the king, because of what happened. Oh, I should have mentioned that the son didn't live long after he was born either. He only lived like a few hours. So both the queen and her baby end up dying, which was pretty awful. But anyway, they're at the council, and Otto is saying that he needs to pick an heir, and they're talking about Damon. Corlys brings up Damon, and they're saying how it shouldn't be Damon. Somebody brings up that it should be Rhaenyra, and they're saying that it shouldn't be her. And then the king finally just has enough and says, he's not going to let his wife and son just died. He's not going to deal with crows coming to pick their bones or something like that. And he gets up and storms out. And then you see it goes back to the castle, and Otto had, I guess, called his daughter, and then he tells his daughter to go visit the king, and she's like in his chambers, and he's like, yeah, and she's like, she don't know what to say, and she starts messing with her mouth, and he says, don't do that, and then she goes to walk away, and he says to that she should wear one of her mother's dresses, and I thought this was pretty just icky. It had a really foul feeling to it. I got a bad feeling about this Otto guy, and he strikes me as somebody who will sacrifice his children just to gain just the slightest bit of power, So I'm gonna talk about all these characters after I do the recap. But yeah, basically, Allison does go to visit the king, and she talks about when her mother died. The only thing that people try to talk to her in riddles, but the only thing she wanted to hear them say was that they were sorry for how she felt. And so she tells the king that she's very sorry for what happened. And I think she's the only person who actually gave the king a heartfelt apology about what happened to his wife and son. And I think it really moved the king. Then we see Prince Damon at this place with the Night's Watch. And you see, they're like partying and everything, and you kind of hear Damon saying something about the king's son, but then at the same time, you see Otto Hightower telling the king about what Damon has said and done. So they weren't really clear about what Damon said, and I'm guessing that was intentional. But basically, Otto told the king that he had celebrated, basically his son being killed, like calling him the heir for a day. And then the king, had summoned Damon, and Damon went to say something, and the king told him if he don't address him as your grace, he's gonna have his king's guard cut his tongue out. At that point, Damon knew it was serious, and then the king, confronted him about, saying the heir for the day thing at the celebration, and Damon basically said, we grieve in our own way, and the king was like furious and wasn't having any of it, and told Damon that he wasn't going to be his heir anymore, and he ordered him to go back to his wife, and told him to do it without quarrel as an order from his king. And then when Damon went to step towards the king's guard stepped in front and let him know that you ain't getting close to the king. Then you kind of see Damon leaves and the king is sitting there kind of upset. Then the king calls Rhaenyra to him, and they start talking, and he pretty much tells her that he's gonna name her the new heir. And then you see, and then like they did a lot of this in this episode, but while they're having a ceremony, you still hear the king talking to Rhaenyra, and as he's explaining to her about the prophecy of ice and fire, when the walk, whatever them things were called, them ice zombies or whatever things are gonna come take over the whatever. I guess they knew about this way back then, and he was telling her about it and how she had to be ready for it, and he made her promise that she would protect the secret, and yeah, everybody pledges their loyalty to the king and to Rhaenyra. Now, one thing I did find funny was that when one of the Baratheons came to pledge his loyalty, you saw Rhaenyra with a funny look. Now, if in the current, the most recent Game of Thrones, when it first started, it was because the Baratheons had just defeated the Targaryens. So, I don't know how that's gonna play into it, but yeah, I did kind of notice that. And so yeah, all right, that's pretty much the recap of how the episode went. Now, some things I want to talk about. The characters that I really took notice of were Rhaenys, the person who was supposed to be queen, but Viserys was picked. Prince Daemon, of course, King Viserys, Princess Rhaenyra, her friend Alicent, Otto Hightower, and Corlys Velaryon. Now, I read people saying that they thought Alicent and Princess Rhaenyra were in love or something. I didn't pick up on that at all. They just seemed like best friends to me, like really good friends. I didn't pick up any type of romantic feelings between the two. I didn't pick up on that. But the show seemed to portray Daemon as a violent kind of, I don't know, kind of like a wild card or like unpredictable. But I'm going to tell you, I get the feeling that Daemon is actually loyal to his brother and to Rhaenyra. I get that feeling that he's not the issue. If it's one person who I really don't trust, and I think he's going to be the true villain, is going to be Otto Hightower. That dude just really comes across as a cunt, as Prince Daemon called him. Something, I just don't trust Otto Hightower at all. But at the same time, this is Game of Thrones, and this episode was pretty it wasn't like real violent and action packed, but they set up the characters perfectly. I thought the episode was really good. Um, I'm curious to see how Corliss and Rhaenys, because they're a couple, how they you know, Corliss seems to support Prince Daemon for sure. So you know, I'm gonna be curious to see how this, you know, these interactions play out. Because one thing you know for sure with Game of Thrones is that somebody's gonna get stabbed in the back and somebody's gonna get betrayed. No doubt about it. It's just who's gonna do the betraying. Oh, and another guy to keep, I think we should keep an eye on is the guy from Dorne who actually beat Prince Daemon in the joust and in the duel. If y'all remember, I can't remember his name, but the guy from Dorne who beat the Mountain, you know, in the other Game of Thrones, yeah, he was a beast too. And now I guess they're kind of playing off of that in this one with another guy from Dorne who just beat Prince Daemon, who was supposed to be pretty much the champion. So, you know, these are the characters. You know, Alicent seems to be a pretty decent person, but I don't know. She seems like she could have her own motivations, and she is the daughter of Otto Hightower. So she may be somebody that we're gonna have to keep our eye on as well. Like I said, I'm pretty sure Otto's a skunk. I think Daemon is actually honorable and trustworthy. You know, and we'll have to see how King Viserys goes forward. You know, he seems to be a pretty decent king too, but we'll see if he's able to maintain that, and how Princess Rhaenyra is gonna. You know, there's a lot of they set up a lot of good characters and some very interesting scenarios in this episode. So I'm really looking forward to the next episode. I would give this episode a 4.5 out of 5. The only reason I'm not giving it a perfect episode because I felt like they could have showed a little bit more of the dragons and maybe had a little bit more action. But like I said, in terms of drama, in terms of good characters, in terms of setting up the characters, you know, I thought they did a really good job in this episode and setting up the next episode as well. So I'm really looking forward to episode 2 and coming back here to do the review for that. So, man, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please leave your thoughts and comments. Did you like the episode? What did you think? You know, and please share the video. Everybody, thank you for watching the video. I love you. Everybody, stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy. Peace.